Have you ever wondered what was out there in the night sky? Stared up at the stars in the hopes of seeing something out of the ordinary? Have you ever heard unexplainable noises coming from a vacant room, or watched a shadow cross the wall in front of you? Have you asked yourself if there's life after this one, or if you had life before? What about strange creatures that are mythical and elusive? Have you experienced deja vu, or felt a prompting to leave because you felt you were in danger? What if tomorrow you were on the fringe? Welcome to a special episode of On the Fringe. We're here to celebrate Halloween, y'all. I'm Philip, in case you don't know.
Ooh.
Yep, I'm Philip, and
I'm Art.
and obviously we've got Pam with us.
Hi.
Jess, unfortunately, had some stuff come up, so she can't really make it. Hopefully, she'll make it here in a little bit. Hopefully, get everything sorted out. Because this has been a lot of fun. I mean, you guys have been instrumental in our podcast. I mean, just you guys, I think, have moved from guests, and I've made the comment many times, more like co-hosts now. So, man, love to have you guys on. And we're just here to have fun and celebrate and just have a good time. I mean, we all love Halloween. We all love this time of year, the season, the spooky stuff, and all that. I don't know. This is just going to be a free for all. I don't even know where we're going with this today. I've got some stuff to share. We talked about. Hey, Chris.
Hey, sweetie.
Chris.
We talked about. I was working on a new opener just for this show, but I didn't have time. I've been busy all weekend, had some things pop up. So, talking to Pam earlier, we thought about maybe showing some videos from the SEK Bordertown YouTube channel. There's some pretty cool little videos on there to share with everybody. So I wanted to ask permission, and Pam gave us the permission. So I know there's more to it, but she's there. So and obviously Mark's part of the group too, though. So I didn't want to just throw it out there and say, hey, this is what we're doing. I wanted to make sure I checked with everybody.
We'll get with the others and double check too. I don't see any problems at all doing it.
No, there's no problems at all.
No.
We need to put more stuff up on there.
We do.
And that's what when my first computer died.
I was telling Phil, there's a lot of times we haven't actually videoed ourselves, We probably need to do that more.
Yeah, I mean, we can plug you guys and maybe try to push some of your videos and stuff out too, kind of give you a little more following.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, so happy Halloween, everybody. I mean, This is going to be fun. So
it's spectacular.
That's right.
Wonderful.
Yeah, like I said, unfortunately, I didn't get a new opening done. Music on and all that stuff, but and what's sad though is they had so much music on our music provider thing. I was like, man, I don't know what kind of feel I want to go for the opener. I was like, I just don't have time to sort through it all. So maybe next year. So
there's always
where do you guys want to start at? I mean, we got stories. We got. I haven't got any listener stories, unfortunately, but that's okay. I can share some off of my old YouTube channel if you'd like. Night Tales TV. I have a few personal stories of some people up that gave me permission to record their stories. So I could share some of that too, I guess. So
that'd be cool.
I don't know. Let's kick it off and share one of the first videos. I mean, I want to say this is Mike from the Bordertown Paranormal Society, using rods, and I found it a pretty interesting video. So let's see if I can get this done here. Video, no, not that one. Share screen. Let me get this all set up here. Right there. Share system audio. If you guys can't hear it, let me know, please. Hey, Enzo, what's up, buddy?
Yep, there he is.
Well, we'll share this and then roll with it. I keep trying to hit play on this screen.
I haven't seen these in so long.
And narrating is our own Mark. So
That is Mike. He is one of our members.
can you guys hear that okay?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Change.
That's
There it
cool.
is. I
I don't
remember
know if
that one.
everybody could hear him, but he was like asking whatever was moving the rods to point them at Jessica.
And so they did.
And they did. And then he asked it to go back straight, and it did. Rods are fascinating. I think, Mark, do you have rods too? I think
No, I don't have rods. Someplace I've got the old Y-shaped dowsing rod, because I can
Yeah.
douse for water
Mm-hmm.
fairly reliably.
We need to try you out on a pair because I bet you money you would be able to do them if you can douse for water.
Probably so.
Telling the stories.
Do you just want to be left alone? Cross the rods if that's what you want.
And there was our answer.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing that? Why are you pointing at me? Around the front, making me nervous. Please, go ahead. He wants to leave this area and cross the road.
That's an answer again.
Yeah.
That's the main reason I can see using a camera is to record things like that. I don't believe I've ever caught anything paranormal on it, but I've caught meters, and I've caught stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris said, honestly, I always thought the rods were just people turning them. Then Jessica let me hold them and ask questions when we were at the cemetery. They were moving and it wasn't me. I'm a believer now.
It works. I've seen them hold them where gravity holds them down, and they still cross. And the handles are made by. They've got a piece of pipe
Copper
around
tubing.
that copper,
Yeah.
and you can't control it. They just hang there. And I've seen them.
Can you go grab mine?
I've seen them do this.
Yeah,
and
go
I
for
can
it.
Know what they, how they're made so people can see it. Let me go grab them real quick.
And there's more to come with that. They got some pretty cool little videos on there. There's not many, but that's okay. I mean, it's cool. I figured because my idea was, and I asked Jess and Pam yesterday in the chat, if I could steal some of their footage for the opener, because there was some stock footage on Canva where I use to design the logos and stuff. And it was kind of a CGI version of somebody doing an investigation. I was like, wait a minute, that would be a cool opener if I could cut some of their footage and put in the opener. That way, I mean, they have something in it.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
But
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what they look like. They're just copper rods and they're bent in an L shape. But if you look, you can see that they're actually in a tube, and then there's a rivet in the bottom to hold it in there. So when you hold them, you don't manipulate the rod at all.
Yeah, there's no control. She just about whacked herself in the
I
nose.
did. Yeah, so when you hold them by that tube.
See, she can't even control when she's trying.
No. Got to take myself out here.
But that's cool, though. I mean,
Woman decapitated by copper rods. She was at 11.
I was really hoping last night that there would be something happening, because for those of you who don't know, I mean, last night I went to my son. He debuted at the Constantine Theater. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
Hi, Alicia.
But he debuted at the Constantine Theater in Pawhuska.
Enzo.
Enzo. Oh, sorry, Mark. I took it off. Go ahead.
No,
They
the
don't have to be
rods
copper.
do not need to be copper. I made my dowsing rod out of bronze welding rod from the welding shop.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's conductive, it should work. Should be something that conducts electricity.
You can witch water with them too, and a lot of people use wood, just like Mark was saying. He uses a Y-shaped branch. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be copper. That's just what I have.
Yeah. If you're going to use a real branch, it has to be green wood, though. It has to have water in it. It has to be conductive.
That's cool. I mean, I've never done it, even water or whatever. I've heard it truly works. My brother's talked about it, him doing it for water.
The gas and electric company, they employ dowsers.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does work, and nobody can tell you why. I mean, there's all kinds of theories, but the only hard rule is it has to be a conductive material.
Huh.
My grandfather used to witch water. There was a famous for the area water driller over in the Winfield, Udall area. He wouldn't punch a hole unless my grandfather came out and checked.
Really?
That's That's
well,
awesome.
I wonder. I don't know how it works. I don't have any clue as to how it works. I don't know if it's maybe you're grounding yourself or something. Your body is grounding into the ground. Alicia said witching water is the weirdest experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't.
It is.
I don't
You
understand.
can't stop it when it tries to turn. It just turns.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd like to try it just to see. I mean, I believe it works. But it's kind of one of those things I want to try for myself, just out of curiosity.
You need to. The rods are relatively inexpensive. When we use them for specific things, especially if we're using them in investigations, we are at the point now where we don't let anyone else use our rods anymore because they acclimate to us and they work better if we keep them just to ourselves. And but yeah, they are relatively inexpensive. You can get them on Amazon.
Yeah, or, like I said, you could just run to the local welding shop and grab some bronze welding rod and some copper tubing, and have a set knocked together in just 20-minute session. And they work just as well as anything you buy, maybe even better because you're actually working the metal with your hands and imprinting your own, let's call it vibrations on it yourself.
I think, I'll have to ask Mike to make sure. I think maybe in that video, the rods he had at that time, he had made himself.
Yeah, I think that's actually the best way if you've got the time and the know-how.
Willie, do they vibrate like the new wind conductors do too?
No,
thanks, man. Putting that image in our heads.
No, thank goodness. Those are a little scarring.
Yeah, trolled by our own friend.
But no, last night, my wife and my little kids, I don't know, you can probably hear them in the background. I don't know. But I even got the door shut. That tells you anything. So,
Hey, they're happy and healthy. That's nothing
that's
wrong with
right.
that.
That's what matters.
Yep.
Happy Halloween, brother. Hey, Chad. You guys are all more than welcome to come on. I mean, don't be bashful. So, and, but yeah, last night we went to the Constantine Theater, and you guys have investigated it, and it's a beautiful place. It really is. I've never been in there. And it's beautiful. It really is.
It is gorgeous.
And my father-in-law, he lives down in Pahuska. And for all that don't know, I'm hoping to get him on here in a little bit. He's got some stuff going on, but my son, I was wanting to get him on to play a little bit. Oh, I invited Enzo on, but he's got some other stuff going. So, but he went down to play for his really his debut. I mean, he's never played anywhere before. And he did a great job. I couldn't be more proud. I mean, I was I'm not skeptical, but nervous for him. And but he did great. He played a 30-minute set, did awesome. But I was hoping I would get some kind of vibe or something, because you guys said it was active.
It's the other direction where you had the camera pointing.
Tim, right?
It was really right behind you, over your shoulder.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I was up against the wall, but Tim Smith, he said, "Where's it at?" He said, "It's down in Pahuska, and really cool place. I mean,
it's
right
old.
downtown."
And my father-in-law, he joined us, and he was telling me about some of the history of it when he was a kid, because he grew up in Pahuska. He said it was a split. I can't remember. It was segregated. Back when he grew up.
Yeah.
He
Wow.
said, the black people had to set up upstairs in the balcony to watch, because it was just a movie theater at the time. And he said that all the white people sat down low and all the black people were up high. And he's like, man, I never thought that was right. Yeah. But that's just part of the history of the place. And I'd love to do a deep dive into it, because I think it'd be cool to learn about the place, because it's a beautiful theater.
It was built by a man for his daughter to sing in.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
She was an opera singer.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah. Chad said, I'm running around to get chores done and get ready for the Tatiwaba party today. Yep, there's another bunch of parties going on today. I wanted to get this out today. That way I can get it posted so people can listen to it tomorrow during Halloween. We're going to obviously share some stories. And I have a personal recording I've done for a Telltale Heart we'll play here shortly. But I really loved the theater. It was just a nice theater. And I bet, I mean, from anything you guys have said and what I understand, that there's going to be more activity, because they're going to start remodeling.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it'll ramp up. I want to go in then.
Yeah, they're going to take all the old chairs and stuff out. They're going to put new seating and stuff in, and they're going to start remodeling. Wow. They're going to, just from what they were saying last night, this was the first they've had like comedians. They had Chad Prather up there, and then there's another guy, I can't remember who his name is. I've seen him, but I can't remember his name. But they're really trying to open it up, because the whole Reed Drummond, Pioneer Woman thing down there. They're trying to really open up the town. Mm-hmm. And they only had 2 performers last night, 3 counting I can't remember his name. He kind of runs the association or whatever. But they're trying to open it up even more. Chris said, "Oh, that'd be a great time for y'all to go investigate."
It would be.
Absolutely, it would. Definitely. It'd be cool. But no, he did a phenomenal job, and I'm hoping to share more videos to Facebook, but I have to get some stuff sorted out. But anyway, we're moving on. I mean, I I love the theater. It's gorgeous. And I told him, man, keep it up. This is an awesome place to do all this stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they're actually trying to get Garth Brooks in to do and just an acoustic set. You know, and they're trying to bring other people
That
in.
would be
They're trying to get, yeah, they're trying to get a bunch of cool people, bunch of people in just to keep rolling with it.
Yeah, and the acoustics in that place are fantastic. It was designed to be used without sound equipment, so
Mhm.
you know you can hear a speaker or something from the stage in the back row easily.
Oh yeah.
When we
You know what?
investigate, I think we caught the most activity. It was up in the balcony, wasn't it, Mark?
No, it was when you go up the stairs and go out. There's a corner,
Mhm.
and we could see somebody's head poking. It was under the balcony.
That's right.
It was
That's right.
from where the stairs go up to the balcony and
Yes.
come down. Where that
Which
meets.
side?
It was over on the east
If you're
side.
looking north.
See,
It would have
that
been
one.
to your right
Yeah.
from where you were sitting. Where the stairs come down the aisle,
Uh-huh.
and then when they go up the stairs to go to the balcony, they look like they
I
were
think
peeking
that
around that corner.
that's kind of
Unfortunately,
cool
my
because
camera died.
oh man, that's kind of cool because that one was blocked off.
Nice.
So yeah, it was, you know, it was, well, I say blocked, it was just chained off, but just to kind of give you an idea of the acoustics, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to play
I don't mind.
my son's video from there, or part of a video from there last night.
I'll go away. It's our platform. We can do what we want.
Exactly, but I don't want to bother you guys, you know. But I know I've already shared, you know, a lot. You guys are gonna get, man, this guy's playing his kid again.
Hey, I was bothered long before you met me.
I'm gonna see if I can back it up. He's probably not watching yet, so. This is a song that he wrote, and it's not really Halloween. The cameraman sucked, so just let you all know.
I mean, next time take a tripod.
Well, I had it resting up against the seat.
It's about being stuck in your own confines of
But this is the stage of the Constantine Theater.
When I die, don't bury me. Turn me into ashes. Spread my ashes out to sea. Yeah, don't need no company. So I can be free like a dream. I run hard like a river. I speak softly like the stream. That'll be all that I need. Take a shotgun, my dad gave to me. Gave it to my king. So my uncle loved and keep. Don't need a home to harm me. So I can be free like a tree. I run hard like a river. I speak softly like a stream. It'll be all that I need. Being up here ain't so bad. There ain't no pain, I'm not sad. Saw my grandpa the other day. Sat on the house with a whole lot to say. Now we're free like a tree. speaks softly like a stream, and it's all we'll ever need. Yeah, it's all we'll ever need.
Yeah, I mean that's. I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
I said that would have been a good time to be looking up in that corner, because that's when we got activity that night. Was when we were playing music through a Bluetooth
Really?
speaker on the stage.
Yeah.
That's
So,
kind of cool.
That's
That's
right.
kinda
We
cool.
did, didn't we? We
yeah,
played,
we played an
stuff.
opera song that would have been
Yeah.
popular at the time when it first opened, and
Yeah.
we started seeing the peekaboo around the corner.
Really, that'd be
And
cool.
Yeah.
my
Man,
camera died, and I guess it was one of those things where maybe it made my camera die. I don't know. But
I don't. Yeah, that'd be cool. I would love to go. If you guys ever go back there, I mean, I would love to. I mean, I fell in love with the place just
Really?
because it's old, man. I mean, I love it. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
place.
I
I
don't know
hope
who's
they
doing it now.
stay with the feeling of the place when they remodel it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
try to make it too modern.
Yep.
Sounds like somebody's dying in the next room.
Yeah. Chad asked who it was, and I told him it was my son. He said, "Wow." I said, "Awesome." Yeah, I'm partial. Obviously, it's my kid, but he did a great job. I was very, very, very pleased.
Proud papa.
Yeah, very proud.
Well, he should be.
Let's see.
We're all proud of him too, and I've only talked to him on here.
Right?
My brother, said, "Put great job, Levi." Yeah, it was just fun, but I'm gonna move on. I want to, like I said, I did a recording of the Telltale Heart. I added music and sound effects and stuff to it, so I want to play it because this is one of my favorite Edgar Allan Poe stories. Let's see if I can find it, and we'll see if I can get it to work right this time. I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit, but here we go. Nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous. Oh dang it! I was going to do that. Nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous. I had been and am. But why will you say that I'm mad? The disease has sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was the sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Hearken, and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none. Passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad? Madmen know nothing. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded with that caution. With what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently. And then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed, so that no light shone out. And then I thrust in my head. Oh, he would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening, so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed. Ha! Would a madman have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously, oh so cautiously. Cautiously, for the hinges creaked. I undid it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye was always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning when the day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone, and inquiring how he had passed the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed, to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph to think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch with a thick darkness, for the shutters were closed fastened through fear of robbers. And so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily, steadily. I had my head in, and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening. The old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?" I kept still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in the bed listening, just as I have done night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Presently I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or grief. Oh no! It was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I knew the sound well. Many a night, just at midnight, when all the world slept, it has welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo the terrors that distracted me. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been lying awake ever since the first slight noise, when he had turned in the bed. His fears had ever been since growing upon him. He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. He had been saying to himself, "It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor," or "It's merely a cricket which has made a single chirp." Yes, he has been trying to comfort himself with all these suppositions, but he found all in vain, because death, in approaching him, had stalked with his black shadow before him and enveloped the victim. And it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although he neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. When I had waited long enough, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot from out the crevice and fell upon that vulture eye. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue, with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow in my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray as if by instinct, precisely on the damn spot. And now, have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now I say there comes to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in a cotton, and I knew that sound well too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury as the beating of a drum stimulates a soldier into courage. But even yet, I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. Do you mark me well? I have told you that I am nervous. So I am. And now at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncomfortable terror. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and stood still, but the beating grew louder, louder. I thought the heart must burst, and now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. He shrieked once only, and in an instant I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. I then smiled gaily to find the deed so far done, but for many minutes the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, will you think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body? The night waned and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and the legs. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited it all between the scantlings. I then replaced the board so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatever. I had been too wary for that. A tub had caught all. When I had made at the end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there had come a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart, for what I had now to fear. There entered 3 men who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged at the police office, and they, the officers, had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled, for what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I took my visitors all over the house. I bade them search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them I was singularly at ease. They sat, and well, I answered cheerily. They chatted of familiar things, but ere long, I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears, but still they sat and chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained my definitiveness, until, at length, I found that the noise was not within my ears. No doubt, I grew very pale, but I talked more fluently and with a heightened voice, yet the sound increased. And what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key with a violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of the men, but the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and grated upon the boards, but the noise arose over all that continually increased. It grew louder, 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 and still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God, no, no, they heard. They suspected, they knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think, but anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. And now, again, hark, louder, louder, louder! Villains, I shrieked. Dissemble no more, I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. Here, here, it is the beating of his hideous heart. That's such a fun story this time of year.
It is. Sound effects really made it too.
You did really well.
No, thank you.
It was good.
I tried, but I could not stop coughing. The more I talked, the more I coughed.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Poe. Like I said, especially this time of year, it's such a it fits so well. I wanted to do one of my other favorites is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, but that's like an hour. And I was like, man, that's a whole dang near whole show. I mean, that would be fun to have several people playing different characters, you know, like an audio drama type thing. But
that would be cool.
That would be cool. Do it as an audio play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. We could do that.
It'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this time of year. You know, it's not a secret, and I was like, man, it fits perfectly. But we'll go in real quick, and where'd it go here?
Oh, I found the best audio earlier. I found audio of Christopher Lee reading The Raven.
Oh, that's cool.
It was spine chilling.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Do you have it?
Yeah, I can share it.
Yeah, share it. I'd love to hear it.
Let's see.
Fun.
We get done with that, we'll play another from you guys' YouTube channel.
Alrighty. Let me this already. Share screen. Alright. And can you hear it?
Yep.
It's just an ad.
Build custom industrial machines in days. Design your machine in the simplest online.
Is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master.
All right. Why did it start in the middle? Here you go.
The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "Oh, Mr. I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. After this, nothing more. Distinctly, I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently, my soul grew stronger. Hesitating then no longer, "Sir," said I, "or Madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then, what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Open here, I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast above the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing further then he uttered, not a feather then he fluttered. Still I scarcely more than muttered. Other friends have flown before. On the morrow will he leave me, as my hopes have flown before? Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by replies so aptly spoken. Doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast, and followed faster, until his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking evermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl, whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet violet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er. But whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee. By these angels he has sent thee respite, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the padded bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted evermore.
What do you
That
think?
was awesome. That was good.
Isn't his voice just chilling?
Oh yeah, I wish I had like an eighth of a talent that guy's got for voice work. You know, that'd be amazing.
Millionth of that talent, and I would be happy.
I know it.
It was a toss-up between him and Vincent Price, but
Oh yeah,
I think Christopher Lee nailed it, and that's my new favorite reading of it.
yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, Enzo said epic stuff. It is, man.
It is. I mean, that's good stuff. That just puts you in the mood for Halloween.
Oh
Big
yeah,
time.
for sure. It really does. I'm going to share you guys another video from you guys talking to Carl.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched this one, but yeah. Here we go. It says fun with Carl communicating with the dowsing rods at a local cemetery.
Hey Carl, are you here? I think so.
There's Jess.
If you are, say something so I can hear you.
Sorry, the cameraman sucks in this one too. I was wearing a helmet cam.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Come over here.
I'm not sure.
Carl is one of the regulars. He's a strong little boy, and he can cross them continuously.
There's Miss Chris.
Yeah. They are hanging them upside down, and they're still trying to cross.
Yeah.
Carl, I can't hear
They're
you
on
anymore.
pivot,
Where are
so
you?
she shouldn't be able. There should be no way for them to cross when she's got them up in the air like that.
Okay, Carl, please. Are you happy to see us back?
That would be a yes.
All right. Can you uncross them for me, sweetie? Just uncross them. Are you on? Carl, can you say something so I can hear you? You can press the rod. Maybe focus on the rod. If I put the rods down and you just focus on talking to Pam, will that help? Maybe.
Hey Carl, last time we were here, were you hiding because of the scary guy in the tree?
Are you still here, bud? Yeah, he's here. He may not remember. That's true. Maybe he was ushered out by other. Mm-hmm. So there's a new lady here with us tonight. And her name's Chris, and she's right here beside me. You see her?
Oh wow.
Hi, Carl.
Isn't that cool?
she's really cool too.
Yep.
That's great.
Are you excited to have somebody new here? Yep. Awesome. Well, we try to bring you friends. Do you remember the other two that are here? Can you point to Pam?
Good job.
Can you point to Mark? Do you remember Mark? The guy with the funny hat?
That's me in any room.
There he is.
Yep.
Do you know where Mike is? Do you remember Mike? Can you point to Mike?
Yeah, he's way over there, isn't he?
He's right there. Good job, sweetie.
Hmm.
We're glad to visit you again. Now we're going to be exploring all over the cemetery again, and you're welcome to come with us. You're welcome to stay here, and we'll keep coming around and visiting you. Is that okay?
I just heard something. I heard something on the highway. Hit the rumble strip.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Sounded kind of like a growl.
We're talking to Carl.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's here.
Cool.
We just introduced him to Chris.
Yeah, and he pointed right at her. And he's pointed each one of us out.
And you, as you was walking up.
Bring your camera over here and see if you can get her doing that again, because that was pretty cool. Now, hopefully it came out on mine.
Okay. Looking across. All right, sweetie. Let's go over everybody again. Remember the new lady, Chris? Can you point to her? Good job. Can you point to Pam? Remember where I'm at? It feels like he's struggling with it. I need to get him more.
I think we wore him out.
Can you point? Can you point to Mark? I'm glad the bull's back at it. Can you point to Mike?
Bull is in the field.
Good job, sweetie.
Where's Jess at? Can you point at Jess?
Thank you. All right. Can you uncross them? You gotta get it off.
If you want to say anything.
Hang on, buddy. Hang on, buddy.
It helps sometimes if you scream at a cow, it's just we heard you before, actually.
Easy. Hang on, you're breathing so heavy into this, but you
A
little better, okay?
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna go look around, and then we'll be
Get
back
big
after a little while and visit with you.
Yes, beautiful.
Ooh, I'm glad he's back. I was a little nervous there.
I wonder, Mark, I wonder if we still have that audio. I don't know if it was that night or if it was one of the previous times when we were out there and we were over near where Carl's buried and we were walking, asking him questions, and he said, "Don't go." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, he just said, don't go." Did you guys
I don't
hear?
know if we
Nobody
still have
heard?
that or not. I don't know who caught that.
That was so cool because I was like, I plainly heard this child say, "Don't go," in a really sad voice.
Yeah.
And I told them that. And then later because we had more than one recorder going.
Yeah, it was on the audio.
Yeah, when it was played back, you can hear him say, "Don't go." And then you hear me say, "Oh my gosh, you guys, he's saying
It
don't
was
go."
kind of heartbreaking, actually.
It was. It's really sad.
That's cool. Yeah. Hi, Liam. How are you?
Good.
Good. We got Big Willie here and Big Little Liam.
Awesome.
Bookies, come here.
What's up, brother?
What's shaking?
You brought the
Do you hear the echo?
you brought the
though?
backup. I see.
We brought something. I'll tell you what. Roll down.
No, turn it down, bud.
You might have to go in and move. I don't have the ability to move his slider for his move his mic down volume wise.
Let's see. I've never done that. So
Yeah, if you click over somebody, it gives you the option to adjust their volume.
that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I got him. Are you guys ready for Halloween?
Yeah,
What are you gonna dress up as?
skeleton.
A skeleton.
Cool.
You gonna get a lot of candy? Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, for anybody that's in the area around Caney, be sure to come by the library too. We bagged
Yeah.
up like I think 400 big bags, and we've got 400 books to give out too. So
Oh, sweet.
yeah,
We might slide over that way. We may hit Deering and then slide over that way and do a little bit.
yeah, you got to go to Jess's haunt, Nightmare on
Oh, yeah.
Bradley.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh, you can get rid of that Big Willie's Bits one. You can get rid of that one. That was just so I can share a photo later. I'm sorry.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't know if you were going to do something with it or not.
No.
Have
Oh well,
life
share a
on the way.
photo. Share a photo. I want to share a story later if you guys, because you guys are just doing a Halloween party, right? Like just sharing
Yeah,
stories
man,
and
go
stuff.
for it. Share it.
Oh
man,
gosh,
go
we'll wait for Mark.
Yep, I've got another one I want to share too, but I don't know if I want him to hear it because it's a real. Willie, you probably remember my old YouTube channel I had.
Yes.
I'm going to share some stuff off of that, and there's one video on there that maybe I don't know if Liam should probably hear it or not.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No worries. I can get rid of him. I can get.
No, I mean, hey Liam,
What?
what do you think about being the first kid on our podcast?
It's true.
I think you're the best guest we've ever had.
Well, why don't you tell him what your story was last night? What did you say you heard?
I like this like banging sound like on the window, but like it was like nothing but like I checked on there, nothing was there, and like I kept hearing it and I couldn't like go to sleep and I was so tired this morning. So like I only got a little sleep now, like even that much.
Oh yeah. Wow.
That's pretty
You
cool.
got to get some rest. Tomorrow's a big night, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You got to go to school tomorrow though, too, don't you?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a half day, right,
How
buddy?
many people won't be there? How many kids won't be there on Tuesday? I have a bellyache.
You would think. I could see Tuesday being the reality of a bellyache.
Yeah,
That's the day.
that's what I mean.
That's the day.
How many kids won't be there Tuesday?
But yeah. So, anyways, he just wanted to hop on. I thought I'd have him hop on for a second because he was like
That's cool.
dying. We didn't get a spot actually set up just yet, and Mommy's out with Ezra, so it was just me with them. And it took a while to get in here.
Okay,
That's
then
cool.
one adult.
Especially for Halloween. Halloween is about kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, there was. What was the story you told last year, buddy? About
Oh, the like ghost sound.
The
The
what?
like ghost sound that I heard.
Oh yeah, but that was last year, right? Not last night.
That was last year.
I can't tell because I'm here with him if it sounds really echoey on your guys' end or not. I don't know.
Yeah,
sounds
it
really
sounds
good on
like
the-
Louise and mine.
It's kind of hit or miss. I think he's picking up your mic too.
Yeah.
That could be what's going on. Normally, I guess if I route them, I have to get some stuff to. No, buddy, you don't have to change that. That's okay. You see that? Where's that? I told him we'll get him set up on. We'll let him use my mic. We'll do a Liam's little ghost chats. I think is what he was originally going to make his
That's
YouTube
cool.
channel. But now he says no.
That'd be a good bit for Big Willie's Bits.
I don't know if I can let him on Big Willie's Bits. Big Willie's Bits might have to have like you need to be 16 or older to be able to get on there. There might be a little rating thing on. You can listen to the other stuff. I don't know about a little listen.
All right, well, fair enough.
Oh man, maybe if there's like a.
Something is wrong.
But all right, well, I'll get him squared away. I'll come back, and then there's a story I was going to share. It's called Tug of War. I don't know if you guys have heard this one before.
I don't think so.
It's kind of interesting. It's an old timey tale. So just as a little preview, like a little teaser, here is a picture of what it looks like. So I don't know if you're able to pop that up in there or not.
They're trying to like pull.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it. That's weird.
Popped up.
Try to do it on like this.
Hang on, buddy. Hang on. It's okay. But anyways, maybe it'll play when I come back. I'll get it fixed. That's okay, buddy. So, all right, we'll be right back for you guys. Okay.
That's cool.
All right, sounds good.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I love that people feel that you guys feel comfortable enough to have the kids on here too. That's great. Because Halloween's about kids, man. It's about them having fun and making memories, and
it's about remembering being a kid.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole thing I love about it. I have so many good memories from Halloween.
Some of my best memories of Halloween.
Hanging out with my aunts, visiting neighbors that I never got to see.
And Katie, for a conservative area, we are all about Halloween, which is I love, absolutely love. Every year we have tomorrow at 2, there will be every year we have every Halloween we have the grade school do a parade downtown.
Yeah.
So all the kids go and dress up and walk downtown and, then go back and have their parties. And then after school lets out, I think we start at 5:30.
Then they run around on a sugar high.
Yep. Best.
That's what it's about. And I've made it an educational situation for my children, because I charge them dad tax.
Dad tax,
driving them around, you charge them dad tax. And
That's
you got to understand, if this is income, you got to pay taxes on your income.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
But
at least you're
this
just
year,
charging taxes and not gas too.
Right, I know it. I mean, this year though, it's going to be a tax-free holiday because I am on keto right now, so I don't want to mess it up with the candy.
I'll take your taxes.
That's funny.
I've often wondered, and Chris will kill me for telling you this. I've often wondered if I could get chocolate-covered coffee beans in individual packages to hand out.
Oh, that's just
that would be awesome.
Epic. The kids would love it. Parents would hate it.
Yeah.
And the parents, once they figured out where it came
Your house
from,
would
would
be
never
banned.
come back
Let me
to your
down
house.
and kill me. Yes.
Yeah, it has to be banned from then on.
It's the coffee bean man.
That's funny.
No, stay away.
I
or
had
the
to tell you
parents.
that the other night. I'm jumping right in the middle of this. Okay,
That's
so
cool.
the other night before last, because Jess came over yesterday, I was telling her that I'm never scared. I live by myself. I had no problems with it at all. And for whatever reason, about 10 o'clock, I just got a strange feeling. And I wasn't watching scary movies or anything. So I made sure that I keep a stick in my patio door.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and I locked my front door and I just went in my bedroom. And then I got the worst feeling. So I went back out and I double checked, made sure my screen door was locked and everything, went back to bed. And I woke up, I don't know what time it was. This cat was screaming just outside my bedroom window.
Oh, wow.
I didn't hear 2 cats, just 1 cat. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on. And there's no way in Hades I'm going to walk out there and check it out either. I don't know what was going on, but, I did the whole push, get away from my house, get out of here, you're not welcome here thing. And it went away. I don't know what it was. Jess was like, oh. But yeah, it was freaky. I don't know. Guess the veil is thin or something, because
Isn't that the original lore? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to probably ask the same question. I mean, is that
go
the same,
for it. We'll see.
You know, is that this time of year in the veil thin anyhow?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Supposedly they say that's
you
can talk to your ancestors or whoever, you know.
Yeah, because that's where we covered it here a couple weeks ago on the Halloween episode, just talking about the history of Halloween. You know, the Day of the Dead, you know, the Hispanic holiday. There was another, was it the Celts or the that celebrated that as well, kind of.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how that tradition passes down through the ages.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so in a way, does that kind of go back to what we talked about last week, you know, with the tulpas anyway? And is that a type of a tulpa in an instance, you know, where people have created that?
It could be. I mean, I don't think the whole thing is by any means, but I think some of it could be, especially if you have, you know, stories about certain places around town that, you know, kind of like Charlie Brown, you know, the great pumpkin's going to rise out of the pumpkin patch. Well, if you feed into that enough, you know, you can cause something to occur if you put enough energy into it.
If enough people put just a little bit of energy into something, it could manifest.
It may not be Snoopy coming up, but it you may feel something, you know, a little bit of a disturbance in the force.
In the force.
Kind of thing.
By the way, I can indeed buy, if I pre-order, individually packed packages of chocolate-covered coffee beans.
Sweet. Oh, no. Boy, I'm glad my kids are grown.
My wife, she said, I scare myself all the time. I don't do great when I live alone. I don't sleep very good as it is.
Well, normally, you know, I don't really have any problems, but for whatever reason, you know, I had to put my foot down the other night because something was messing with me. I don't know what it was.
Probably just something passing through.
Must have been, but whatever it was, it scared a cat. And we even went out, Jess and I went out and checked out, because there's that flower bed, you know, right under where my window is. There were no paw prints or anything out there, so I have no clue. Weird.
A lot of people think phenomenons have to be tied to something, tied to a place, tied to a person, tied to an object. A lot of them just wander around. They may stay for a while someplace and then just move on.
Mm-hmm. Some, yeah, there are definitely transient things out there.
You know.
Awesome. Willie, you had something to share?
So I was going to kick him out, and he was like, listen, Dad, I've watched Stranger Things. I think I can handle a ghost. So I figured I would just share that little story, which is similar to what you guys are talking about, and then we'll head out, because that we can share the other story without having to worry about anything that way. He looks like he's also sitting in the, I don't know what happened to his lighting. Looks like he's, there he is. He looks like he was telling the story of, oh yeah, there's, it looks like he was telling, you know, like when they go on Nightline and they're all in the shade, right? And they're like, I was forced into what I was doing. You can close the door. But did that picture, let me try it one more time to see if it'll share for you guys or not. I don't know why it wouldn't share that particular photo. Let's see if this works. All right, let's try that.
There it is.
There it is.
It popped out for you? So this is obviously an older time. This is just a small depiction.
That looks like a wood print.
Is it? Is that what that is? The style art?
It looks like it's a wood block print.
Nice. So it was called Tug of War, and it is similar to some of the thinning stuff you guys were talking about. We can go that way. Another banana? Hang on. So we got a banana person over here who's obsessed with bananas. Except I just gave her the last one. So she's... I don't have any more bananas, baby. You can do apple. I've never had a kid. I don't know which kid you guys had. Did you guys have a kid that was obsessed with bananas or any particular thing or any one item they were obsessed with?
My granddaughter, apples and bananas. That's her big thing. And she, I don't know if it's the love of the song. Do you know that song? Is that one
a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes.
She likes to sing that, so she'll do that. I like to eat apples and bananas. Yeah, she likes to carry. She's 3. She likes to carry them around.
There you go. Well, I'll do this really quick because I probably don't have long with her. I'm going to tell a little story and then we'll go, okay? Deal? Okay, she says deal. All right. So, and obviously, you guys can interject on this at any point, too, and give whatever your opinions might be. But this is from the American Folklore. And obviously, you can go on. There's many websites that are dedicated to just looking up stories for this time of the year or just in general. But this one was titled Tug of War by S.E. Scholzer. And so apparently it says, now my cousin, P.S. Wooden, is a successful businessman, and he has got a pretty solid head on his shoulders. But when he told me that he owned a haunted house, I told him that he was plumb crazy. It was a nice red brick house about a half mile above the bridge, and it sat right on the front of an old Indian burial ground. Wooden had rented the house out more than once, but no one would ever stay there for long. Now, just going to ask you guys, if you were going to rent a place and someone said, this is the beautiful place, but it's on the Indian burial ground, is that a red flag for any of you?
Oh, absolutely it is.
Giant red flag.
Yeah, I'm out.
Just immediately, you're out on just on those bases alone, you're gone?
It may be a whole parade full of red flags.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not happening.
Okay, now, and we will continue the story, obviously, but I am curious, I'm wondering, is there a way to properly, respectfully stay somewhere where there is a burial ground? You know, is there a process that you could go through that would essentially show that you're, honoring the fact that there's people here and you're going to be respectful? Because eventually, I mean, we have people we've lost everywhere. They're buried somewhere. So right. I wonder if there is a way within that, culture and lore, could be specific to each tribe, perhaps even, that there was a way to conduct your business around a burial ground, or if it was just flat out, we don't live here. I've never really looked into that. I've never even thought about that. Now I think about it,
I have never heard of any tribe or Native American, anyone that has anything to say about living on that. They are more of, everything I've heard is just don't.
Just don't.
It's sacred. It's considered sacred ground where your ancestors are buried.
You can visit and don't live here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't disturb.
So obviously, big red flag being the fact that we automatically are that. So, okay, so we have that going for us in this. Now he goes on to say, I'm telling you, the tenants all claim the house is haunted. Wooden told me, I'm not making it up. I think maybe it has something to do with that old Indian burial ground in the back. Well, I mean, we just talked about that. He went on to say, I think it has something to do with the quality of people you rent the house to. And this is what he said to his cousin. He said, I snapped, honestly Wooden might have believed there were rats in the floorboards or even squirrels in the attic. But ghosts? He couldn't buy it, he said. Why don't you just stay there a few nights, suggested Wooden. Check the place out. I won't charge any rent. So he's asking his cousin essentially just to stay here just to see, like, are my tenants making this all up? Are they trying to get out of having to pay rent essentially, or is this something going on? Charge me rent, I snapped. You should pay me for dispelling the rumors of a haunted house. Which, I've just got to ask specifically here, Mark. Would you take somebody up on that if somebody was like, hey, Mark, can you just stay somewhere for a couple nights to prove the place is not haunted? Would that be your favorite?
Yeah, I would. Because things like that don't bother me.
Not
it has
often
to be really, really bad for it to even register on my ontoscope.
I mean, I think a general curiosity, too. I mean, even if you're being super respectful, I think in our heart of hearts, I think everybody, in some sense, some are already believers, but even if you are a believer, there's still a moment of, if this is a genuine, really active haunted place, there's still an innate curiosity, I think, in all of us to want to explore that a little bit. Even if we are being respectful,
As long as the bed's comfortable, I'll probably sleep just fine.
Nice. Solid lazy boy recliner or something.
That's right. I'd be good with it. Might have to set up some equipment to see if something happens while I'm asleep.
There you go. So his cousin ended up doing it. He said, I packed a bag that very night and moved into the house. It was a large house and quite comfortable. I put my things away and spent a quiet evening reading a book before I went to bed. Well, this sounds like Mark moved in. Mark and books seems like...
I do. I mean...
This is it.
Books are good.
I fell asleep almost immediately and was dreaming happily about food when the covers were snatched right off my bed. I mean, again, this is a perfect night, actually. Book, dream about food. This is a good night. Said I woke up at once, blinking blurrily in the darkened room. Quote, good gravy, what a terrible draft, unquote. Obviously, this is, I don't think it gave the exact year on this, but I don't know, I feel like that may be a little bit of a throwback there. I mumbled, sliding to the floor and picking up the covers. I staggered back to bed with my covers and went back to sleep. I had the top quilt clutched in my hand, the corner tucked under my chin. Suddenly, the quilt was ripped out of my grasp so fiercely that it yanked me halfway down the bed. I snapped awake again. At that moment, Phil, where are you at? If you secure, we've all done that. We've all done the tuck, right? Where you like cocoon yourself in the foot lift, and you're I don't know about you guys, but I you kind of cocoon yourself in there a little bit. I feel like that's what he had done here. And if you're snapped out of that, are you now fully awake here, Mark or Phil? Are you fully?
Oh yeah. See, I can't do the
Now,
I
I've
can't do
lived
the
it too many
cocoon thing
times.
anyway.
Okay.
Wife does the crocodile death roll, and I'm no covers. Is like, oh well, I guess I'll sleep in the cold.
Yeah, I feel
Or I'll
too
do it
trapped.
back, and then it becomes a war.
Yep. I feel way too trapped if I'm cocooned in, crap wrapped around my feet. It bugs the crap out of me. But I'm sorry I forgot he was on there.
Oh no, you're fine. He's heard worse. Anyways, he goes, I snapped awake again. He shouted out, and I quote, "You cut that out!" I shouted to the irritating draft. At this point, he still thinks it's a draft. Quote, honestly, can a man get some sleep around here? I fetched my covers, tucked them firmly around me, and went back to sleep. I have to say this is sounding more and more like Mark the whole time we talk about this, because I don't feel like this is someone that, like myself, who would already be out of there. The next morning, I carefully examined my room, trying to find the annoying draft that had kept blowing my covers off that night before. The room was well constructed, and there didn't seem to be any gaps around the windows or the door. Still, I decided I was overlooking something, since I knew for a fact that there were no such thing as ghosts. Oh, I'll turn it down for you. So in that, let's take a second there to break that down. Are we at least excited about the fact that he's breaking down and eliminating all the... I mean, these are the things we would want to eliminate, right? And these are the things I'm sure your team does on an investigation.
Yep.
Eliminate things that are possible.
What do you think the most common cause would be in his case? I can get a window perhaps opening up, curtains blowing around, things of that nature, but full on yanking your blankets down, could you really chalk that up as a strong draft?
Not
if you
I
were a
was alone.
firm disbeliever, yeah, you might be able to.
True, because he did say there's no such thing as a ghost, so that is the realm he's operating from.
Yeah. I would be more along the lines of, oh yeah, there's something here that obviously doesn't want me to sleep.
I would have just said, leave me the hell alone and let me sleep, and we'll talk about this in the morning.
I mean, he did, right? That's what he said. Can a man get some sleep?
Get it out of there.
So, I went to work that day and forgot all about my interpreted sleep as I immersed myself in the various tasks that crossed my desk. It wasn't until I finished a late supper and went to my room that I recalled the incident with the blankets. Quote, ghosts, boulder dash, and poppycock. Well, I feel like this is definitely dating the time that we're in. Unquote. I growled, quoting some of my favorite Victorian sayings of the character in a book I was reading. I settled back against the pillow and read for an hour before turning off the light. As I made myself comfortable, the door to the room blew open with an eerie creak. For a moment, I had the strange impression that someone had come into the room. What nonsense, I said aloud and turned over on my side. A moment later, the covers were snatched right off my body. Hey! I shouted, sitting bolting right up. I jumped out of the bed and grabbed the quilts from the floor. Quote, I'm going to have to get that draft fixed in the morning, unquote. I feel like there's a point, though, where you're like, ignorant bliss, like...
Can you imagine the ghost? The ghost is like, seriously?
The Nile just ain't a river in Egypt, buddy.
I was going to say. All right, so I definitely told the darkness, climbing back into the bed and tucking the covers firmly about me. I kept the top quilt clutched in both hands and lay waiting for the strange draft to strike again. But nothing happened. Nonsense, I muttered, turning over and letting go of the top quilt. I was nearly asleep when the covers whipped aside, leaving me completely bare. Quote, I do not believe in ghosts, I shouted out loud, climbing out of the bed and grabbing the ghost. I mean, honestly, that poor ghost, though, like, probably is just like, there's probably like a hazing period for them where they got to prove their worth. They're like, all right, we gotta go scare this guy. It's going to be super easy. This place is, and they can't get the job done. I returned to the bed and slept with the covers firmly wrapped around my arms for the rest of the night. I found it much harder to keep my attention on work the next day. My sleep had been restless, to say the least, since I kept expecting my blankets to be blown off by that strange draft. That night, I went into the bedroom with a hammer and several nails and nailed the bedroom door shut. Quote, I'd like to see a draft get through that. Unquote. Yeah, that might be taking a step further.
That could be that backfire.
That might be a little overcompensation right there.
Yeah. We'll say that's a challenge now.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's iron in the
I might
nails. It goes all the way around.
Air under the door, under the knob, but I don't think I'd nail it shut.
There you go. I said, puncturing each word with a strike of the hammer, was it my imagination, or did the air suddenly get chilly? I shivered, but said to myself, rubbish. I exclaimed, trying to get rid of myself of the notion that I had angered something or someone. Let me see here.
We need to bring those words back.
If he's not muted, you can mute.
Yeah, he's muted.
I feel like I'm hearing that sound just a little. I don't know why that is. All right, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure. So anyways, continuing on with him here. Let's see. So I kept... Like I started... Okay. Rubbish, I exclaimed, trying to rid myself of the notion that I had angered something or someone. I felt certain that I would have an undisturbed sleep. Nothing was coming to the door tonight. I drifted off peacefully and was deep in dreamland when the bedroom door crashed open and the covers were snatched off my body so hard they left marks on my bare legs. Now, how hard do you think a blanket has to be pulled? Or are we thinking the hands grab somebody at that point? You know what I mean? Because, like, how could your blankets leave a mark?
Rug burn.
Yeah, it could be like a rug burn.
Yeah, if it's an old wool blanket, maybe. Yep.
I guess that's a good point. I didn't think about that. What were you saying it could be, Liam? Claws? You think like just general nails or claws or what? Here you go, Brooklyn. Brookies. There you go. Sorry, guys. All right.
No, you good. We get it, man. Trust me.
I know, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So let's see. So anyways, okay, so these get ripped off him. Okay. I yelled out, "Cut that out." I yelled, jumping to my feet and grabbing the covers from the floor. Immediately, the covers were yanked from my arms. Now, this is another level, right? I managed to grab the end of the blankets and pulled back, really angry now. Back and forth, the invisible presence, and I wrestled, knocking into furniture, rolling across the bed, neither of us giving an inch. Finally, I let go of the blanket so suddenly that it snapped backward, and I heard a distinct thump. As if something or someone had fallen to the floor. Quote, "Get out," unquote, I shouted at it. I must have won that round in our game of tug of war because the door slammed shut with a rather sulky sound, like a spoiled child denied a toy. I yelled, "Good night and good riddance." I exclaimed, reclaiming my covers and climbing into bed. I mean, if nothing else, this man's got a set on him. I'm going to say that because if this is an accurate tale, I'm out at this point. I'm gone.
Okay, I have a question, though.
100%.
The door
go ahead.
slammed shut?
Yeah, because he nailed it shut. It busted open, yanked the covers off.
I was like, how did it open? Okay, I missed that part. Mm-hmm. My bad.
So, no, I have to say, I mean, either this man was very fit, maybe the ghosts wore themselves out busting the door open. Maybe we'll hit on that point in just a second because we're almost done here, because I have a point I come back to on that. So anyways, the next morning, I examined the door in the morning and I couldn't find a single nail left in place. I couldn't even find the holes where I had driven the nails into the wood the night before. That creeped me out something awful. So out of everything else, so like, he's okay with all the literally physically wrestling with the ghost, but like a nail hole missing. He's like, that's too far.
That's starting to sound like a dimensional slip.
Nah. Quote, in for a penny, in for a pound, unquote. I don't know where his sayings are. Like, these, I feel like I don't know that. I've never heard that saying, at least.
I've heard it.
You have? Okay. It says, as the saying goes, I was committed to my course, and nothing was going to keep me from making that house habitable, ghost or no ghost. For several nights in a row, I played tug of war with the unseen presence in the house. Sometimes I lay on the bed and just pulled and pulled against the spirit that was trying to deprive me of my covers. I feel like this is another level. Sometimes we raged back and forth around the room like we did the night I nailed the door shut. I finally admitted defeat the night the spirit pulled me and the blanket right off the bed. It yanked the blanket straight forward, and the bedroom window with me sailing along behind them. I let out a yelp and let go of the blanket just as the window opened with a bang and the blanket sailed through. Depicted in the picture we can see there, obviously. I hit the floor with a terrible thump and shook the floorboards. I didn't hear a sound, but there was distinctly triumphant air about the room as I slowly got to my feet. Quote, all right, you win, I said in disgust. Quote, I believe in ghosts. Do you hear me? I believe in ghosts. Are you happy now? Unquote. The last little bit just basically saying, I felt the invisible presence saunter out of the room. It closed the door with a smug creak. I shook my fist at the door and then turned on the light, packed my bag, and went home. The next morning, Wooden went to the Redbrook house, retrieved the quilts from the front lawn, and had them washed since I refused to go anywhere near the stupid house again. And that's the tale of this tug of war.
Talking about two entities trying to out-stubborn one another.
I'm really convinced now that there might be a hazing process for entities on the other side, because that ghost was just as committed. They were
Probably when the flag was red and it was low, probably someone a human died in there.
Wow. You took that story to another level. Okay, so he's saying probably when the flag was higher. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but someone died. I don't know where that came from, but that is one take on it. One thing I would like to point out, if we were to cover anything about this, first of all, this is who knows, right, with any of these stories. But let's just take the man at his word. Let's just take him as if these are the actual events that did take place. What do we think about the fact of him nailing the door shut and the ghost needing to kick in the door to get in there? Does that indicate that spirits are not as just moving through material? They actually still have to use it if they're in this plane? What's the...
Sounds more like a scare tactic.
Yeah.
You know, I could just come through the door or I could bust through the door. What's going to scare him worse at this point?
Okay, that would make a little more sense, I guess, because that was the only thing I was thinking about was why even
bother?
do that? Yeah, but I guess that's a good point. If it's a scare tactic,
or if it possibly wasn't a ghost and was some sort of entity that just didn't have any appearance, it was actually physically there.
Well, I was to say, because I wonder your guys' experiences with your team being out in the field, and even others that are paranormal investigators. Have you guys had instances where you've seen things, physically move around, or apparitions just kind of appear? Do they seem to need to interact with this materialistic world, or?
I mean, I've seen the shadow person before.
Yeah.
So.
Full body. As a team, no. It's a good question. We've might feel something in a certain place and take a picture, and later on, I'm thinking, remember when I took that picture at the cemetery and it was Carl again, and Jess is walking down the path talking to him, and I took a picture and caught a perfect orb right beside her, right where, about the right height and everything, where she was talking to him. And, orbs can be a lot of things. Normally I'm going to say they're going to be dust or, bugs or whatever. But there is an occasion where we've seen stuff like that, it was just too perfect of a placing, for it to be. So Oh, question wise, I don't know.
I'd love to, as I say, I'd love to hear. Well, maybe we'll pose that. I don't know if Jess is listening or we'll be around it. I wonder if she would think about that, because there has to be. What I'm wondering is, are there rules once you get to the other side? You know, and we've seen a couple different shows over the years try to play on that, or give the idea of, you can only do this. You're not allowed to show yourself. Whatever the rules might be. But I wonder if there are actual kind of like rules that are in place, or if it's just based on their ability and their own belief in themselves. Kind of like the movie, the original, like Ghost, wasn't that what the original ones, right? Where he had to learn to be able to use his energy to move things because it took that amount of practice.
Maybe so. It may just be based on the amount of energy they actually have at the time or what they can draw on. Like Mark was talking that one night when he was using the camera and the batteries drained. That seems to be there. That happens too often for that not to have some kind of a bearing on things. We've had that happen a lot.
Okay, so interesting thing about this, Mark, you might know this too. What is the primary makeup of a battery? Most batteries.
It's chemical energy. As you provide the current, the chemistry of the battery actually changes. And when you charge one, you change it back.
So what's, because I know there's like lithium batteries, right? And then, but you're saying it's not really the importance of it because it's more just a chemical process of either when it's charged or when it's being recharged.
Chemical battery. As far as I know, all batteries work on some sort of chemical reaction.
It would be interesting to note if someone would ever really, like someone who knew that, intimately, like knew the compound makeups and how they react and all that.
And different brands have different makeups.
Correct, but this seems to be a universal thing, right? With a lot of paranormal gear, doesn't matter what battery you're using,
doesn't matter
backups.
If it's lead, acid, alkaline, standard battery. And I'm sure some of those guys have had lithium batteries that get drained.
Mm-hmm.
As you pull the electricity off of it, the chemistry changes. I don't think that's where an entity would get the energy, but just that's the process of how a battery stores energy.
Maybe it's part of how they interact with this, because if we are energy beings, right, or beings of light, even how we operate, maybe when we're at that next level, that's just the way that they interact without even trying to absorb that, just by being in that area, being in that presence, they just drain it.
Well, the human nervous system produces an enormous amount of voltage. There's no amps, but an enormous amount of voltage, and it can be measured with an oscilloscope or other device. I mean, it's a huge amount. So by being in an area, you yourself become somewhat of a power source.
Mm-hmm. And there is times where if Jess is working, and it's happened to me too, you get completely wiped out from interaction, from basically lending your energy to help this thing come through.
It's interesting stuff. I don't know. I find it fascinating. Where I'm at with that story, who knows? But in general, those things happening leaves you one to wonder for sure as to, like, the interaction process. Because that'd be one of the most that I'm aware of hands-on approaches that I've ever heard of a paranormal activity.
Yeah.
Kind of
for that kind of force. It makes me think this was just a made-up story. That kind of force you would have to have a tremendous amount of energy, whether that be chemical energy, electrical energy, or heat energy. You often hear stories about a room getting cold just before or during an interaction. Well, heat is energy, and by removing the heat, you get the feeling of cold. You don't create cold, you just steal the heat.
Mm-hmm.
So that could explain some things, but I just can't imagine anything with enough energy to interact like that unless it's a incorporeal being from another plane, or even just he could have been having a fight with somebody having the same problem with him in the next dimension. I mean,
he was the Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an awful lot of energy.
Well, I tell you what, Liam and I are going to get out of here, so I thought I'd let Liam give some closing thoughts on it, just to see what he thinks. So,
Yeah,
Liam,
cool.
what did you think
let's
about
hear
that
it.
story? Just
2 thumbs up. I'm
Thumbs up, man.
taking it, brother. I'm
Good
taking it.
story.
do you think it was a ghost or no? Do you think someone pranked him?
Somebody pranked him.
But also, if you nailed the door, if you locked it, he was locked in there.
Well, that's true. He did do that. But we're saying, do you think it was a ghost or just his imagination that was doing that to him?
Probably his imagination.
Oh, is that possible? Could you make a tulpa that could do
It
more?
was a dream.
If enough people thought about it, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are, I mean, in that instance, if enough people knew about it, I could see it being a possibility.
Yeah, and that's true because we didn't even go into the fact about it still being an Indian burial ground. So there still was that too.
Yeah, that too.
Which I wonder if there's been a study on like way things present themselves when they're around an Indian burial ground. Is there like, you know what I mean? Are there certain ways that entities present themselves in certain areas consistently?
As far as I can tell, almost all Indian burial grounds are on some sort of ley line or conjunction of ley lines.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be your energy.
A lot of them are on the east
how
side.
wide of a ley line it is.
Yeah.
I wonder how they came up with it. Like, there's no way that was by chance, right?
Wouldn't
No.
be.
Well, a lot of them are on the east side of a hill facing the sunrise is where you will find burial grounds and things like that. But they did. I mean, Native people lived closely with the earth, and I know they felt more than what we feel now. We are so far removed from nature at this point. It's just terrible. But the closer you are to nature, the more you're going to be able to have that feeling and, respond to those feelings of energy and things like that. And I think they knew because of their closeness with nature, where those lines were,
There's so much EM radiation in our environment. We wouldn't know a ley line if we fell face first into it.
It could be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I tell you what, Liam and I are going to get out of here. We took up enough of your guys' time anyway.
Oh, you're good, man.
Oh, man. We enjoyed having you guys, both of you.
Yep.
You're
Liam,
come back.
Liam, you have fun tomorrow, okay, buddy?
All right.
You would say goodbye.
Don't eat all the chocolate, bud.
Oh, no. Turn that down.
All right.
And then you can say goodbye, okay?
That's
all right, guys.
I can answer with
Bye.
that.
We'll see you, brother.
Have a good one.
Bye,
Happy
Liam.
Halloween.
You too, man.
All right, buddy. Hit the leave button.
You just gonna hang out with us, aren't you?
Yeah. It'll be fun. It was fun having you, buddy.
Yep, sure was.
Yeah, have fun tomorrow night.
Chris said, "Bye, Liam."
Oh. Wait.
Did you find it? That works too.
We were talking about that, and I was thinking in my head that something to have that amount of energy night after night, I honestly couldn't see it as being possible. But if you look at the fact that it's close to an Indian burial ground where there's potentially more than one
Yeah, I had
entity,
forgotten
more than
about that.
one energy, what
Yeah.
if they're taking turns,
Or what if
Right.
they're all working together and
Yeah.
using the ley line for fuel? This sounds to me like it was in the early days of electricity. I don't know.
It sounds like it, especially with the balderdash and
Balderdash and poppycock.
We need to bring those words back.
I know
They're
it.
Indeed, we shall.
Well,
But
hey,
it does sound a little bit embellished, but there may have been a little. Usually, there's a little bit of truth behind stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
He may be having a crocodile death roll with himself. Full transdimensional crocodile death roll.
too funny.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've lived it. It's terrible.
To close out, I want to give you a little backstory on this story I'm about to share. I started a YouTube channel a few years ago, and haven't really done a lot with it, just because I didn't get any bites really. But knowing then what I know now is different. But this is about 3 years ago, and this lady ran across my channel because I shared a personal story and just kind of a real quick trailer for the channel, and I wanted people to come share their stories, and I would read their stories or whatever. So we had a lot of email correspondence back and forth, and she actually wrote a book about her experiences. And this
I think we lost Phil.
Nope, he's here.
Oh, okay.
Yep, am I here?
There he is.
Okay.
Yeah, you're here.
But yeah, this story is kind of disturbing on how you look at it, because there are some drawings that she drew. Because I would read the story, share pictures and stuff like that I thought related to the story to kind of enhance it a little bit, added music. And I was going for, and I don't know if you heard it earlier on the Telltale Heart, but I tried to make it sound like an old time radio play,
Yeah.
So I did that with these, but just kind of a backstory. She did contact me and said, "Here, I want to share my story." And I bought the book. It was a really interesting book, and obviously the book goes into a lot more than what is in the story. But I wrote it out, and I would send it back to her for verification, or say, "Hey, do you want me to share this part? Do you not want me to share this part?" So this was all through correspondence with her. So real quick, I'm going to share this story. It's about 9 minutes. I figured it'd be a good story to finish off with and roll
That'll
into
work.
Halloween. So, oh dang it! I keep hitting the wrong button.
Story of my life, buddy.
But here we go.
Life is full of surprises. Sometimes your mind can play tricks on you, and sometimes you try to trick yourself into not seeing something you've seen. Deep down in your heart, you absolutely know that it was as real as the air you breathe. You question yourself, sometimes for days, trying to make sense of what happened. You may be too embarrassed to share what you have gone through, the emotional toll of the experience, the dread that you live with day in, day out. On the other hand, you're afraid to share the encounter that has had a positive impact. The experience that sent your heart soaring and confirmed long-held beliefs just because someone may think you've lost it. Or maybe, just maybe, you're looking for answers like the rest of us. You've come to the right place. You've come to Night Tales TV.
I still love that logo. That was great.
Night Tales TV. This show is going to be special. A woman named Nina Terrible. Sorry, Nina, if I pronounced it wrong. If I did, please forgive me. She contacted me via email with her story. Her experiences, guys, let me tell you, were nothing short of mind-blowing. After corresponding with her, she sent me a link to her book. I'll put the link in the description below. The title of the book is Paranormal Activity in the Silver City. It didn't take long to read, but I'm telling you guys, it's packed with detail. Personally, I really enjoyed it, and I also highly recommend picking it up. If anything, it'll help somebody in our community get her story out. She also informed me that her story will be aired on the show Paranormal Nightmare.
Somebody's breathing right into their mic.
That as well.
Not sure who it is.
Probably me. Thank you for reaching out to me as well as texting me your story. Remember, guys, please like, subscribe, and share this to help us grow our channel. Also, I would love to tell your story. Please email me at either nighttalestv@gmail.com or my new email, stories@nighttalestv.com. I'll also put those links below. Here's Nina's story. When I was younger, my older brother and I lived with our grandparents on my father's side. My father was a single dad, and my grandparents took care of us when he worked. Every once in a while, my grandparents would go out and visit their friends or family. One particular Sunday, my grandparents left my brother and I alone. as siblings normally do for whatever reason. We had gotten into an argument which had escalated quickly and became physical. No one was there to break it up, and the only thing that stopped us was a loud crash followed by an eerie cackling that came from my grandfather's room. We had always heard old stories of sightings of a ghost that they all describe as a lady in white. Remembering what we thought were old rumors, my brother and I immediately stopped, and we both looked at each other, puzzled and scared, as we proceeded to run as fast as we could down the stairs. Bolting out of the house, refusing to go back inside until our grandparents returned. After a while, we remembered that our grandparents gave us strict orders to stay in the house until they returned. Frightened, we decided to investigate as we went back inside. To our surprise, not a single thing was moved or broken, and we never found out where the evil, mysterious laugh came from. It all started that night. I was awakened with the sense that someone or something was watching me. Terrified and not sure as to what I might find, I scanned the room with a fear so intense. It was then that I was introduced to the evil entity that would be tormenting me. The evil figure was sitting in the chair across the room. Its hair was a fiery red, and for the most part it looked female. Her face decomposed, and her eyes were colorless. As she smiled at me with her sharp teeth exposed, horror filled my soul as I witnessed the saliva oozing from her decayed mouth. Reaching out into the air were claws. It beckoned me to come over. I was terror-stricken, and the last thing I remember is my head falling into my pillow. I had fainted. I woke up the next day confused and horrified. I couldn't determine if it really happened or if it was just a vivid nightmare. I was only 9 years old then, but I know now that that's when it all started. I kept the experience all bottled up and decided to tell my younger cousin a few days later. My cousin, who was Catholic, became frightened for me and suggested that we pray for guidance and protection. We said a few prayers. I felt a sense of relief, but that only lasted for a short period of time. I woke up the next day feeling sick. I couldn't eat. It was as if this thing wouldn't allow me to swallow. Being older now, I know that this entity was trying to attach itself to me. A week went by, and still no change. My grandmother started noticing that I wasn't eating and began anointing me with holy water, as she prayed over me to help me cure my illness. Thankfully, the next day I felt better and I was able to eat again, but the vividness would last a lifetime. It was later the summer of '96, or better referred to as the summer of hell. I can't help but to blame myself. After all, I've watched plenty of horror movies to know all the basic rules, but even then, I ignored the most important one. I was 15, curious, and so attracted to anything horror. I played with a spirit board by myself, and if that wasn't enough, I had chanted spells that I found in a spell book written in another language. Frustrated at what I thought was a complete failure, since nothing had happened, I continued on with this dangerous combo. A few days had passed, and things began to change. I started hearing strange sounds. For each night that went by, the evil entity became more aggressive. Some call it sleep paralysis, but I know it was an evil force holding me captive. I can hear the growling in my ear and the guttural voices as it whispered to me, calling out my name. I was terrified. I fought so hard to have just enough courage to open my eyes, and then fear would strike again when I would witness with my own eyes a hooded shadow figure by my bed and shadow figures darting in and out of the wall while calling my name. It was getting worse. I can now feel it touching me. It actually touched my foot. It wouldn't let me sleep, and it was as if it was getting stronger. I was so scared, and knowing it was my fault, I didn't want to tell anyone, especially my father. All my family had warned me about tampering with spirit boards. I no longer felt safe in my own home, and every chance I got, I tried to go somewhere hoping that this thing wouldn't follow me. I distinctly remember several occasions where the evil had followed me. My aunt had asked me to stay with her and her family during the week to babysit my little cousin while she worked. I had fallen asleep when something disturbed me. I opened my eyes to the light above flickering on and off. I immediately left the bedroom and fell asleep on the couch for the rest of the night. Another night I had experienced the same exact thing. But this time, as I left the room, I heard whispering coming from my cousin's bedroom, which was located right next to the living room. Confused and terrified, I started to wonder if it was my cousin that I had been babysitting, only to find out later that day he was sleeping with his parents in their room the entire night. I knew I had to dispose of the board, and when I did, I heard a voice later that night say, "I will come back."
Eventually, we moved and I began to feel safe again. The activity still happens from time to time. I realized later that this thing wasn't a part of my house. I summoned it and it's attached to me. I thought I was losing my mind until one day my older cousin visited. She also is a believer who has had her own personal experiences. We were exchanging stories of strange events, and she distinctly heard heavy breathing coming from upstairs. We both looked at each other, and she noticed my dog turned towards the direction of the stairs, and she heard it too. She had lived there prior to me and stated that she has never heard that during the time of residency there.
That's it. I hope you enjoyed Nina's story. Nina, once again, thank you for sharing your story with us. There's some details left out of the story intentionally because I told Nina that I wouldn't let all the details out. Let me tell you, it's worth every bit of cost. It's written in a diary format, and I'll give you a little teaser. The entities in this story aren't the only ones. Go download it, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy tale.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
Yeah, Chris even said that's freaky. But yeah, that's all I have. I mean, I want everybody to have a safe, happy Halloween. You know, I mean, this is
No
something.
Ouija boards.
Yeah, no Ouija boards at all.
No Ouija boards. I don't want to have to come investigate your house.
Well, you guys don't go if you find out they've been using a board.
Not if we know about it beforehand, no. Not usually.
Yeah, not everybody agrees with that, but we've seen enough to know that there's something to it and that it's really not something you want to mess with.
Yeah, I really don't want to drag it home.
No. What do you guys think? I mean, I've heard all these stories real quick. I mean, I know we're finishing up here, but you guys do this. What do you think of all these stories where people say they try to burn the boards and stuff like that, but they keep reappearing?
Anything's possible, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've never personally experienced that or seen it, but I've heard a lot of stories about it.
Yeah.
And it could just be somebody really messing with them too.
Well, then that's possible. I'd be like
story,
that, I think.
The story about the guy who kept getting Moby Dick and dunking in the water and putting it back. Yeah.
How we wait. Or when they buy the house and find the creepy doll and throw it away and they go get it and put it back, you know, a family member does.
Right.
When I worked for the healthcare company, we had a lady who kept taking this doll and hiding it for her brother-in-law because it totally freaked him out. She shipped it from different places with different addresses so that he would open it. And it was freaking awesome. So,
that's funny.
She'd fished it out of the trash and hid it in the house again. It just, so, I mean, things like that can happen.
Yeah.
I was in on it, so.
That puts a trick in trick or treat, doesn't it?
Speaking of, that makes me think of the word Nope, which makes me think of the movie. Have you guys seen it yet?
No, I haven't. I've heard about it.
You need to see it. It's Jordan Peele. It's so good. And I can tell you right now, if you're going to watch it once, you're going to watch it about 5 times. Because, the first time you're just going to be like, what the heck was that? And then, oh my gosh. And then you're going to have to watch it again and again to get everything in it. But yeah, it's crazy.
I'm going to check it out.
I think my son's watched it probably 8 times.
Really? I mean, I have a hard time watching movies, because my kids and all that, so I don't know. I didn't know if it was like family friendly or
no.
But Jordan Peele, I'm like, probably not,
No, it's not. Definitely not. But it's really worth watching if you can.
I'll have to check it out. But yeah, I don't really have anything else.
No, I'm good.
I think we had a good show. I think we had some stories.
Halloween for hours and hours yet, but
oh yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, Jess wasn't here, but Pam, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And
no problem.
Thanks, Big Willie and Big Little Liam.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was cool. I mean, that was a lot of fun. So thank you guys for hanging out with us for a little bit. With that being said, folks, I mean, just a reminder, there's not going to be a show tomorrow. I will have this up today. Here in a little bit, I'm going to download it and get it posted, and hopefully, you guys listen to it. While you're out trick or treating, or just in the mood for something fun. So from us to you guys, I hope you guys have a great, safe, happy Halloween. That's what it's about. It's about having fun.
Absolutely.
So,
Be safe.
Definitely.
Have fun. Tell some really great ghost stories. And if you've got good ghost stories, it's not too late, because
no.
Ghost stories are good all year long, not just on Halloween.
I can do them anytime. We can put them up on the show. We can read them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We can start we can start a like a monthly listener parashare or something like that. That'd be a lot of fun. So if you guys have stories, by all means, don't think it's just limited to now. Reach out to us at our email, whatiftomorrowpc@gmail.com. I'm not going to plug anything else because this is just for fun, So with that being said, folks, I think we'll plan a show for Wednesday and go from there. So Pam, again, thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. It's always fun.
Always. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Have a good night.
Bye.